Pleasant.
That
Well,
definitely confirms I do not want to go back in July anytime. That's so
well,
hot.
it's humid, and August is just like it's just so muggy and hot.
At least a lot of your subways have AC though now, right? Most of them do.
Yeah, now, but not back in the 1980s.
Luckily, I wasn't alive then. Otherwise, I would have never visited. Let's see who we're missing. Julian and Roman and Gregory. Okay, there's Roman. Does anyone know Julian
Dave,
is
you able
joining
to hear me?
today? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Does anyone know if Julian's joining today?
I'll text him right now.
Isn't Julian up?
Daniel, you sound very, very, very low. Your mic.
My mic was up. I think isn't Julian out today?
Julian is off today.
Okay, cool. Cool deal. We can go ahead and begin. Okay. So from Pro Miles aside today, we have myself, which is Brittany, Allison, Amber, two Michelles, and I think Amber Rickenboat is not one just yet. Who do we have from state today?
Karen Huggins.
I think Michael Mattheodakis. I do not know if he's here. And I did forget to say Miranda on our side. We do have Miranda too, guys. And who do we have from New York City?
Mike McLaughlin.
David Gerber.
Roman's here.
Daniel's here.
Roman's here.
Emmett Linder's here.
All right. So we can go ahead and start. So the first permit I'm going to pull up is one that you guys stated in the email that you just wanted to look at it on the call. So I'm just going to bring that up. It didn't have a New York City permit associated with it, but it was at the intersection of Academy Street and Seaman Avenue and section of Secret Boulevard and Beach Street. It had a width of 9 feet wide, 13.5 high, and 70 feet in length. Right. Scroll down to the driving direction. I'm not exactly sure what part you guys wanted to look at. So if you want to kind of direct me or tell me.
We'll go look at the hold on, there's an echo. Yeah, we'll go look at the 62nd Avenue. 108 Street to turn right onto 108 Street to 62nd Avenue. That's actually horse harding throughout the entire street.
1 second, sorry, the map is frozen, so let me try to get it unfrozen. Let's not let me scroll around. There we go. Okay, so after 280.
108 Street. It's 108 Street is Horace Hardy. It's not 62nd Avenue. You go down to Horace Hardy where 495 is.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah, that's Horace Harding.
So this part right, this section right here is probably right. You ain't gonna let me zoom in anymore. So 108 Street, 62nd Street. So the 62nd Street should be Horace Harding.
62nd Avenue.
I'll rename that.
It's also marked that way on Google Map.
Is it Horace Harding Expressway? or is it just Horse Harding?
Horse Harding Expressway.
Okay, very good. We will update that naming. Okay, is there any other reason you guys want to look at this permit on the call?
We have I-678 southbound, exit 11 east.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking it's should be exit 1E because you have exit 1 space 1 east.
Yeah, they
So
might have put a double one on there on accident when they were naming it, I bet. So 1E like this. How it shows
Yes,
it on signage. Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, let me write that down. 6, 7, 8. Exit.
And then continue straight on International Airport Center. We had this issue before. There's that's way outside the airport. It's just Rockaway Boulevard.
Okay, let's go to that section so we can see. It might just be a segment misnamed in that area. Let's go look. That's wait, right over here. Open. Okay, so Rockaway. Okay, so yeah, you see right here where they probably misnamed one of the segments. So we just need to update this naming to just say Rockaway Boulevard, right?
Yeah, just Rockaway Boulevard. Everybody knows Rockaway Boulevard. We don't want anyone accidentally enter airport property to JFK Airport because that would take them off the route.
That makes sense.
All right.
All right. Is there any other areas below that? Any of these? Is the rest good?
The truck route, the only truck route in that section there is Beach Town Drive. So it's an unusual permit. It's one of the rare ones where we leave New York City on Rockaway Boulevard, go through Nassau County, and then re-enter New York City via Beach Town Drive. We do not allow them to enter Seagirt Boulevard because Seagirt Boulevard is not a truck route. So anytime that they have to go back in, they have to start at the truck route at Beach Town Drive, the green one. You zoom out.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to just find the beach.
The green one to your left.
This?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay, and you want it to go over like this.
Yes, somewhat. Well, they'll probably go over Mott Avenue at the very least to go over Mott Avenue to get to Beach 9th Street. But at the very least, it should be able to re-enter New York City on Beach Town Drive because that's the only truck route there.
So they would be, let's see, coming down this way.
Correct.
Okay, so they need to make a turn on Burnside.
We don't. That's New York State DOT thing. That's outside of New York City. But if
I just didn't know what.
But if I would,
right here.
If they allow it, then yes, Burnside would be the logical
Yeah, this would be their
choice.
own system, so that's their state road. That's the road that's going to allow them. I think we discussed this in calls years ago, and this is the route they had given that would be on system. So right here is where you'd be entering.
Correct. I don't want to
Okay.
go over the state DOT boundaries. I can't say Burnside if they say
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, they did agree to this years ago. So I
Okay.
didn't
All
recall
right.
this conversation. So I'll
Okay.
make sure we add some kind of local delivery or something in this section. Sure, we'll do that. And the route, okay, so that's neat. All right. Is there any other issues with this permit?
Sorry.
I know the ending's going to change, so we'll definitely have to look at this one next week. But anything else?
Yeah. You have anything at the end? Beach 9th Street?
Yeah, I did, looking at the destination in the top, it says intersection of Seagirt Boulevard and Beach Street. Now, did they mean Beach 9th Street? Or not sure what they actually meant.
So it looks like for this one, you guys used a lat long. So it looks like
Okay.
you just selected on the map.
Okay. Now, what about International Airport Center B? Are we gonna change that name?
Yeah, we're changing that to Rockaway Boulevard. It's just that was CSEL just had it looked like a few segments. Let me see.
Okay, good.
Somewhere along here, they just misclicked, or not even, maybe not even misclicked. They just thought it was named that. But we're going to clean up this area and stretch where it just says Rockaway.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see right here. See, it says it right on the Rockaway when it should just be Rockaway.
Okay.
So I think we're good on this permit. We can go ahead and go to the next permit. The next few permits are re-reviews from last week. So the first re-review is going to be 20478 for New York City permits. Search that file. Okay, the reason.
Brittany, this is,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is Mike McLaughlin, Brittany. Before you start this one, I just had a question. In testing, are we able to start a route in New York State territory, or whether it's Nassau County, Suffolk County, or Westchester, or upstate New York, and see if we can run it through the city? Is that possible?
Yeah, the way it's set up right now, that's why it's allowing you to route through New York State right now. The way it's set up right now, you can route wherever you want just to see what it's going to look like and where it's going to enter New York and all of that. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's why no problem. That's why you see where it was like kind of entering where you guys didn't want it to enter in the state side, because it's allowing you to route on the state roads. That's why when we're selecting the permit type and you guys are testing how you're doing single trip, New York, or whatever it's called, you're just using the regular state permit right now, the base permit. You're not using the New York City specific permit at this moment. So you can do as you please.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So the next permit we have again is re-review is just one tiny little section. You guys wanted this to say I-495 Service Road 69th Street exit. So you can see we have made that change and it displays that. So just give us a quick re-review and let us know if this looks good.
It looks good now. Guys, you have any concerns?
Very good.
Very good. Let's go to the next one. This is another re-review. We had a couple changes on this one. So let's go through that. And this permit is New York City permit 34890. So one of the main requests was the connector roads between main lanes and service roads. So we did go through all of those and update the naming of those. So it's never going to say just connector. It's either going to say slip road after such and such avenue or connector road after such and such avenue. There was some from CSEL that they did actually have the correct like connector road after this. So you will see that those are all updated now on Woodhaven Boulevard, Lennon Boulevard, and Queens. There was an updated one on I-678 northbound exit SW exit 19 should be northbound exits 19 SW exit 19 north, and then the same with the south, and to get rid of them here the CR dash naming. So we're just going to scroll down and look at that. You can see first we now have the slip road after 101 Avenue. So that was one of their requests. It originally said connector, if you guys recall. This one you wanted to say exit north, so we added that. Same with the south, has the south. Let's see, and the CRD namings, the secondary namings are now gone. You're not able to see those in the secondary namings. We went ahead and did that throughout all of New York City. Anything that said CR dash, we went ahead and got rid of it. So we should no longer run across those issues too. We just did kind of like a bulk cleanup for a lot of things on this permit. So if you want to take a re-review and look at all of this again and let us know if this one's now good to go.
Yeah, this one looks better itself. I did a test yesterday and I sent it hold on. There's with the 678 to 95 Rams, I provided a detailed map. So actually it might come out better once the changes are being made.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we're probably gonna review those. I was saving any changes, emails for after this call, just so that it doesn't affect any of the permits that we have for today. So you'll probably be getting a lot of replies after today's call once we are able to make those changes and push it to the website. I just don't like to do it right before our scheduled calls, just so these driving directions don't get out of whack. But we will definitely make any updates that you have suggested in your emails.
Definitely, it's fine. But this way, I don't see anything wrong unless you guys have anything to share.
Just one question. The origin, start point, destination. I see you have these in lat long. Is it not? Is it easier lat long, or is it easier with address and addresses to get
So
locations?
it's much easier in address. The problem is, which we discussed this, I think, probably a couple weeks. My map's doing this weird little thing again, where it's not letting me zoom around. Let me try to validate again why I explained. The problem is the geocoder is hooking it into the main lane. So a geocoder, when there's an address, behind that address, there's a lat long tied to it. So it knows, hey, if I put this address, it triggers this lat long. Well, it's putting it in the main lane of the road, which is not allowing, that's not where you guys are starting. You're not starting on the main lane of the road. You're starting on the service road. So it's putting it here, which was then causing route failure, which was causing issues. So that's something, again, that you guys are just going to have to work with your geocoder team with to get that resolved and tell them, like, hey, this address should actually point to this lat long, not in the middle of the service road. So that is why I use lat long.
Brittany, it's Roman. I have a question about this. So would this be solved once we bring the address data layer into hooks? Or this is something separate and distinct?
This would be resolved. I'm not going to say that just because you bring that new geocoder, it's going to solve this issue. That's why it's important to report these specific addresses to them so they know that the lat long is incorrect. I don't know if you're familiar with like Google too. Like Google, if it points you to a wrong address, you can actually submit a request saying, hey, this is actually where this address is. It's not here. And they'll update that lat long where it points to the correct area. So these specific examples, it's very important, I would think, to probably tell your CSCL geocoder team so they're making those updates behind the scenes. So when we do import that new geocoder, that address is going to display correctly in our system.
Okay. Do we have the details what to tell them?
I would just, the address is on there and I put the lat long. So on the agenda and in the minutes. So if you just look at the agenda, you can see the address and the lat long. And you could tell them like, hey, can you update this address to have this lat long? Is basically what I would call them. Say it's the address that currently is showing for our old geocoder, which they have nothing to do with the old geocoder, I would assume. So it might be correct in your new geocoder right now as we speak. I just can't speak for it because we don't have that new geocoder yet. But just you can basically ask them to confirm, like, hey, what lat long is for this address? And if it isn't this, can you put it as this, basically?
Okay. Got it. Thank you so much, Brittany. So did you say that you will put it in the minutes, or it wasn't in the agenda for this call?
That's how Emmett noticed it. If you see on the minutes, you can see here, I put the address, but then I put in parentheses the lat long. That's how you know that I did not use the address. I had to use a lat long instead. If it's just the address, like when it's like this, that means this address worked fine. I didn't have to use a lat long for it. This one I put in parentheses because I couldn't use this.
You could not use the address. Okay,
yeah.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there's only been 2 or 3 examples of that. It hasn't been very many. It seems to be, the problem is the ones that have the service road and the main lanes. It always seems to want to hook on our old geocoder on the main lanes instead of the service roads for the addresses. That's what I have taken note into.
Got it.
Okay. All right, guys, I think you said this permit was good now, so go ahead and go to the next permit. Okay, this is our final re-review. The only reason we are re-reviewing this one, I believe, let me see, it was pending MTA. It looked like there was a lot of reconstruction in Randall's Park, so MTA confirmed with us how it should look, and we have redrawn that area. and gotten rid of the ramp that wasn't supposed to be there and all of that fun stuff. We also had some naming issues. You wanted I-278 eastbound Northern Boulevard to be renamed to 68th Street until the ramp it enters onto. And it also repeated that exit 44 to Astoria twice. So we cleaned that up. And like I said, we
This one is going through. I have another meeting.
sorry. Someone have a question? Kirby, I think you're not muted. I think that's causing some background noise. And Michael, I don't know if you're trying to say something or if you are just talking.
Senator, I must go. Thank you for your
I'm just gonna mute you guys. You can't. I'm just gonna mute you. All right. So let's go down. The first one I think was, let's see, 68. So you can see here it now says 68th Street before it gets onto that entrance ramp. Before, you remember it didn't say that 68th Street. It didn't say that in the driving direction, so we updated that. You can also see where it was repeating exit 44 twice. I-278 exit 44, and then it say I-278 exit 44. We cleaned that up. It looked like there was just some misnaming in those segments there. So this area is cleaned up. And the final part of this was Randall's Park was redrawn completely. So I will zoom to that area. If you remember last week, it was kind of jumping off of here and then going on to the old ramp that was right here. That was kind of like a clover leaf. We have deleted that. We've added the new stretch ramp. And this is what it's doing now. So I'm not sure, again, if this is exactly what you're wanting it to do. Again, the map is not as important as the driving directions. So what I'm going to do for this one is go to the driving directions and you guys tell me if you see anything wrong.
Generally, we take them to Rounders Island, but once they get off the ramp, they have free use of the of roaming around the island. We do not generally route there in Rounders Island. So
would it be this last line? So would you route them to Central Road, or what line would it stop at?
so it would stop at turn left onto Central Road. That's where it would stop.
Okay, so this last segment is the problem. Let me go look at
last-
that. Because we
the
can
last
probably
two.
just delete. I bet I can just delete that last segment. And it's just going to say Central Road and it's just going to hook it to that address. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. So this segment here, we'll just
The
give it up.
The last two.
Oh, the
Where it
last,
says-
you don't do to Central Road either?
No.
Okay.
Central Road is in
David?
Rounders Island.
David, do you know why historically we don't route on Randall's Island?
Because sometimes we figure out where they go. There's just like many streets, some streets are not named. So it's like inside Flushing Meadow. While we do Flushing Meadow, historically, I was just told that we just send them to Rounders Island, much like Roosevelt Island as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So I think with us I think if it exits off here, as long as it have it exit, which we do, we'll just end it here and it's probably just going to hook to that address and it'll just end them at, it'll end at this line here. So we'll look into these two segments here. So outside of these two segments, is there anything else in these driving directions that is an issue?
Hey, Dave, I'm sorry. I had one more thing. Dave, I mean, this non-routing on Roosevelt or Randall's Island, I mean, this goes back. Do you think this predates like Google Maps? Because,
Probably. More than likely, because we didn't have the resources with Google Maps to say, okay, we'll route you around this island, because when we used to use Hagstrom's, and Hagstrom's would not list all the streets there. It would just say, Rounders, Ward's Island, and then maybe one or two streets. I can look at a Hagstrom. Just give me 1 second.
Don't even. There's no reason to. That's like a fax machine. I don't even want to we shouldn't even have those in the office anymore. We should burn those.
I still use Hagstrom's. What are you giving me?
Yeah, yeah, when we
I mean, I
rely on
think,
the Hagstrom, there's no streets name in there. It just shows the psych ward, the sewage treatment plant, and the stadium.
okay, those are tourist spots.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe we should consider allowing it because, if a truck gets off and they don't have an escort, they're going to need to figure out how to get there. And if we have that information and we have that data, we should probably allow it to route on Randall's Island.
Hey, Mike, so it's Danny. I may be unsure, but with Roosevelt Island, I'm pretty sure RIOC escorts any vehicles that go over Roosevelt Island oversized. So I think that may be why we don't route on that island. I don't know how Roosevelt goes. I mean, how Randall's goes, but Roosevelt Island, they have like their own little police force that I believe would escort any oversized stuff because we had issues with that in the past. So we just end them on the bridge and then they take them the rest of the way.
All right.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
guys
mean,
maybe want to table this and talk about it some more?
yeah, I think, yeah, let's do that because we also have to figure out the Flushing Meadow Park as well.
Yeah.
Because if we can't do it now with how we route, but if we are going to be using this system and this is like the latest technology, we should take advantage of all the technology that's involved. And, it's way more accurate than just dropping them at the base of the bridge and letting them figure it out. And, same thing with Roosevelt. I don't know for sure if their own police force comes and escorts all these vehicles, but yeah, we should definitely just speak about it, and that'll be an action item, and we'll have to get back to you on that one.
No, that works. I will table this one for now and move on to the next permit. That's very good. So we will go ahead and save and exit this one. Okay, so we are now on to our first new permit. This new permit is 190. Let's see. We have the address as our origin, then we're going to WW Bridge with 8.6 wide, 13.6 high, 75 feet in length. Coming from Queens.
What's the New York City app on this?
19034.
Okay.
I'm gonna scroll down and let you guys review these turn by turns. Let me know if you want me to go to the map at any point.
Yeah, it looks good.
Very good. Okay. Any other comments before we move on to the next?
Anyone?
No.
Go to the next permit, which is New York City permit 19084. The origin is 1000 West Service Road in Staten Island. The destination is 803 Fort Bell Street in Brooklyn. We are 8.6 wide, 10.2 tall, 68 feet 9 inches in length. Scroll down. You guys can look at the turn by turn and let us know if you see anything weird. You will notice some more Slip Road naming that we've updated to. So we got you see that little addition. Let me know if there's anything else we need to change.
Got turn left onto Atlantic Avenue Viaduct. So it's going on the viaduct.
Uh-huh.
M. Emmett's coming back on. Here's something.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. He's back in here with us. Emmett? David was questioning Atlantic Avenue left turn on the viaduct. Do you have any comments for that?
Traditionally, we don't we don't come across the top of that bridge. I believe it's posted 12 and change on the top, even though this is only 10 feet 2 on the top. We try to stay off of there and
Okay,
take that side road.
Let's go look at it. Let me see if we can look at it and I can see maybe something in impedances we could change. I just need to look at the area. Let me see where that was on the route. Okay, so after I-278, so somewhere over here. Where, if you guys want to direct me, is it more this right or where is it?
More to the left.
Left.
This,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry, more to the right. More to the right. Go to the right. Go to where East New York Avenue is. East New York Avenue runs underneath a tunnel. Go over
Okay.
to your left a little bit more. Yeah,
Okay.
right there.
So you would normally go over the service road, is what you're saying, in this section?
Correct.
Okay, so you would get off right here and go on the service road, yes?
Yes, yes. You stay to the right and you use the service road, the outer roadway.
Okay, yeah, no, we can, that's.
Dave,
Go ahead.
Dave, can I ask you why do we do that?
Emmett?
I know traditionally why
Low bridge
you're
on the
more
top.
comfortable doing.
It's low bridge on the top. 12.6,
Okay.
12, whatever, 12.6, 12.4.
Okay, this is 10 and change.
No, I understand.
Okay. I don't think we should put any impedance on there. I think we should just let it be because this is the way the system is built. And that low clearance, I'm sure that is that like a city bridge, state bridge, railroad?
That's the old train. That's the old train. It's New York City subway.
Okay. So we don't have that. Do we, Brittany, is it possible to see if the height is actually there, like in our in this system, or
like right here is it where the concern is? Is this it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, let me go to that area and restriction manager. We can make sure it's there. That's what I was trying to get together for you guys. Okay.
Posted 12.6, Mike.
Yeah, so we have some posted heights. So let's see, Atlantic eastbound at the street.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Van Syndrome.
Okay, we'll open them up to this so I can see what the values are and see. So Atlantic 20105. We have a restriction for this. This is from BDIS, so that's obviously much higher than what you guys have. But let's look at the New York City posted 32669.
that BDIS is
Yeah, so 12.5. So 12.5 is what's going to be restricting at right here from you guys is posted.
okay. Is that New York
one's
City?
yours. This one's yours. Yes.
Okay.
This posted height is yours. The BDIS height is from BDIS, but since yours is lower, it's going to honor yours first.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is, I just think that this is the way that this system is built, and the information that you put in there is the information that should be valid. And if it's over 12.5 or whatever we put in there or whatever is in BDIS, the system is supposed to catch that. So if it was 13 foot, hopefully it wouldn't have routed that way, but because
Yeah,
it's 10 and
we-
change,
we
that's
can do
valid.
10.
And
Let's put it at 13 foot, just so you guys have peace of mind too. I don't know exactly what route it's gonna give you. It might not even go that way at all. But just for peace of mind, you can always do that as a demo. Just to make sure the system is doing what it should be doing. And let's see, so it's still gonna Atlantic, right? This is Atlantic, right? Let's see. Go towards the A. And you can see now it is taking the service road, just as expected.
Okay.
So is everybody good with that now that we know the system is capturing that?
Yes.
yeah, Brittany, just at that intersection where it transfers over, can you just like zoom in a little bit? Dave, Emmett, do you know, is that possible to do at that point?
Like, to get on the service road, is that what you're asking?
It's a
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Is
You
there
can
a
use-
routing tech there?
Okay.
Because we usually would tell them to stay right at Van Cinder.
So routing
viaduct.
stack, yeah, look. Atlantic
We
is between this and
we
this,
usually
not left
use
lane.
Georgia Avenue, Dave. Right?
Does everybody
Yeah,
see the routing text? Is
yeah.
that the routing text you were hoping to see?
Yeah, it's between Eastern Parkway and Georgia Avenue going eastbound and reverse
yeah.
going westbound.
Yeah,
so
that
it
looks fun.
And those again, those will eventually print in red text. In the driving directions is just, we don't have that in red text just yet. So while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and type in information I need, just so I know that those will be in the red text eventually. And that we don't have to worry about. Give me one moment, just to make sure I have all of them. Well, those have it. Okay, we're good. So let me go ahead and go back and put this back to 10-2, and we can confirm that we're good with this route.
Okay, guys. So Emmett, Dave, you saw that it made the switch, right? So that's the way the system is built, and it did what it was supposed to do. So I don't think we should put any impedance on the outer versus the inner, service road versus the regular, the main line. It did what it's supposed to do, and
Yeah.
I know traditionally we do it, and we do it traditionally for a certain reason. Because it's just ingrained in our heads that just do it this way, because that it just takes all risk out of the picture. But it's under the height limit, and the system did what it's supposed to do, and I think we should just let it ride the way it is.
Yes, agreed. As long as the system can do it based on the height and it's adjustable, it compensates for the height and can do the proper direction.
Yeah, guys, and if you ever just want to test against something, just like we did, just tell me to put it to whatever height you want me to put it at, and we can see if the route catches and does what it's supposed to do, just like we did just now, just for the clarity of your mind. So we are always able
Yeah.
to do testing like that. So with that being said, is there
Yeah.
anything that needs to change in these driving directions, or are we good to go?
Yeah, thank you for just going through that, because especially with railroad bridges, they're kind of like an anomaly, and we don't know for sure, and a lot of the data is missing for those. So it definitely eases my mind. So, but thank you.
Visuals were the point of this call, guys, to make you feel comfortable, and so we can knock out more routes and you feel comfort in the system. So anytime. Okay, so is this route anything that needs to change on here, or we're good to go to the next permit?
I think we're good for this one.
We can move along.
Next permit, which is another, which is 19211 for New York City. The origin is the GW Bridge. The destination is I-495 at the county line. We are 86 wide. 13.6 high and 75 feet in length. Just go ahead and click validate and run.
I'm sorry, Brittany, what's the New York City permit?
It is 19211.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. Here is our driving directions. It's a pretty direct route. It looks like we're only on interstates and the Throgs Neck Bridge, which is kind of what you guys did. I think that.
Hey, Mike, Mattheodakis, we've been kind of thinking. Obviously, we're trying to break the system and we're trying to do things to make it more efficient and make it run the way that we want it to run. This route in particular is part of. I think this is a New York State rule or route that they allow to come through New York City. So we have the 53-foot trailer rule, and that allows trucks with 53-foot trailers that are legal weight, they're not wider than 8.6 wide, to go in this direction, to take this route, to take, you can go George Washington Bridge 95 up to Westchester. You can take it down from 95 straight down 678 to JFK. No permit needed. So I don't know if New York State, I'm not sure if New York State has put that in, but if somebody's applying for a permit, is there a way to say like you don't qualify or you are under the dimensions or this is you're legal to travel in this direction?
You have to send this to me in writing.
So Michael McLaughlin, if I could jump in real fast, we do have that document and I do have a restriction that shows like all the roads that you're allowed to do that under that 53 feet length. Michelle is on here today too. Michelle, if you want to jump in at any point, but I would assume if they're doing a New York State permit, it's not going to give them the New York City permit once we have those rules implemented. We do have that written down from years ago, and that is an action item for us to do once I think routing is probably signed off. Michelle, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you're absolutely correct, Brittany. So if they start with a New York State permit, and that they're within those dimensions and this is the route they're on, the system would know not to generate them a New York City permit. If they are starting with a New York City permit and they're only traveling on, this stretch of road, then the system would need to alert them that they need a NYSDOT permit, not a New York City permit. Is that what you would expect if they were ordering a New York City permit only, was for the system to tell them that, no, this is not the type of permit they need. They only need a New York State permit?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Mike, I don't know what happens once you get out to Nassau County at those dimensions. I mean, if you have the 53-foot trailer rule, sorry, excuse me, I live on a drag strip. If the 53-foot trailer route is implemented through New York City, when it gets out to Nassau County, I would think that those are legal, right? Because I mean, you got Amazon, you got whoever, coming out there. So
yeah, it would
maybe
follow
doesn't
any
even-
state restrictions
They
at
are.
that point.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, so starting at like GW, obviously George Washington Bridge, it's not originating in New York State technically, and it's starting with New York City. So that something should pop up that, no New York City permit required. This, all the different routes on the 53-foot trailer route should state that if they're under dimension or within those dimensions.
Yeah, and we do that now when they're applying for, like, say, a throughway permit in the state, and they actually aren't crossing any throughway roads, or it'll tell them that this is not the right kind of permit they need. And so it would have to just know that logic based on their dimensions, and that's where they're starting their travel. If their route does not include at that point, we're considering that a state road, not a New York City road. The system would just tell them that they only need a New York State permit. Then the New York State permit would have to allow that travel there. So it is a different rule, but we will get that implemented when we're doing, like Brittany said, after routing sign off, and we know that looks like the routing is going to work for you guys, and we'll implement these harder rules at that time until they pass your testing.
Okay. Yeah, so Mike, I mean, that would be like, we would set that as a New York State rule, correct? Even though it's within city limits.
Well, it's a Hooks rule. It's
a
not
hoax,
necessarily New York
yes,
State
that's-
rule.
I was trying to unmute myself, yes, but that's Michelle covered.
Okay.
Is that part of, would that be considered part of Region 11 at that point?
Out where?
I mean, what
whereabouts
section,
exactly?
where in New York is that? I'm not aware or
This
Yeah,
is-
these
familiar
are all
with.
state roads, so I would assume this is all state maintained
Where?
roads. That's
This
all
is
of
Region
this.
11, yeah. This is part, not here is Region 11. When you go further east, you're in Region 10.
So this will be a learning experience too for the state team because they're not familiar with currently approving routes in that exact area. So that'll be something we have to communicate with Tom's team for the, the spec call permit office. And if Region 11 is doing any approvals, which right now I don't know that they specifically would be, we just have to make sure that we communicate this rule with anyone for the state that's approving permits.
Yep.
Which that will be on us to do. We'll make, because this is a change in process for them.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Guys, so this one matched, so I'm assuming this one is a pass. Anyone see anything weird before we move on to the next?
No, I think this one's pretty straightforward, so I think it looks good.
All right, very good. Go ahead and go to the next permits, which is New York City permit 24285. The origin is 223 Linden Street in Brooklyn, and the destination is I-95 at the Westchester County line. And we're here. Let's let it run. Let's scroll to the driver directions. Okay. You know what you think, or if you see anything weird.
I think Julian, turn left onto Cypress Avenue. I know Cypress Avenue is a truck route, but I think Julian had mentioned, I'm not too sure if it was mentioned previously, that if you get right to Myrtle Avenue, there's some columns there. It makes it weird and harder to get into. Well,
Okay, so Cypress.
It's not even touching, hold on, zoom out, please.
Okay.
No, it's not even touching Cypress, so that seems to be okay.
No, it's a little.
This is Cypress right here. So it's going on Cypress. Maybe I'm confused with what you guys are saying.
Can you put the Google Maps, Linden Street by Myrtle?
By Myrtle, so right
Yeah,
here.
like right there. Yeah, right around there. So the issue that Julian had mentioned to us was that little maneuver that it has to do there for the turn.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, he was saying like a truck at 77 long probably couldn't, or it'd be very difficult to make that type of maneuver.
Yeah, it's kind of diagonal right there.
Yeah, that's why, because it looks like this is trying to go directly to Cypress and the nearest truck route, but that's why on our route we went Knickerbocker to Flushing to avoid this itself.
Let's see where this is. Okay, so where is Knickerbocker? Can you
Knickerbocker is, go down like a block or zoom in, zoom in. I think it's right before.
Okay, right
Wilson,
here. You go Knickerbocker to what? This?
make a left, no, make a left and go the same direction towards Flushing.
Oh, okay. So you're just avoiding this. Okay, so there are options for this. Are going to be, you could do a length restriction. You can do a local delivery only restriction, and you can do a no permits. What are you kind of wanting here? Because if you put doing no permits, it's not going to let any vehicle. That is a weird. I can see why you're saying that a truck could get stuck there or mess up there. So is a length the best, or no permits allow no travel since you're not really using that area anyways? What do you kind of want there?
You guys want to wait for Julian to come in so we can see what he suggests also?
Okay, we could do that too. I can table this for next week. Are you guys still there?
Dave, you want to, or Mike, you want to hold this?
All right, well,
You
yeah,
want to
we'll hold it
this
for next week.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk with Julian, see if he
Right.
has any
So-
suggestion.
Holes in this part, but let's ignore this part and continue on from Flushing and go Flushing down and just make sure there's no other issues. So from here forward, is there any other issues?
I believe the rest is okay, if you guys agree.
That last one there, merge onto I-95. Yeah, Buckner Expressway. Yeah, that looks good. Because I almost got mixed up between Buckner Boulevard. Yeah, it all looks good now.
All right, very good. We'll table that one conversation and we'll wait for Julian. And I'll just re-put that on the next week's agenda. Let's go ahead and go to our next permit. Okay. This is New York City permit 24280. This one I do want to note changed since I made the agenda, just because you guys sent over that we can use Williamsburg's bridge at 13.6. So it's trying to take that bridge now. So the driving directions that are on the agenda do not match what's on the screen now. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to re-review because it is using the Williamsburg bridge now because it just was the system thought it was more direct. So do note that. You can kind of see that.
So, Brittany, with the Williamsburg Bridge, I'm not sure if Reed reached out to you yet, but he's got different heights. I think, David, what do you say it was? 14.1, 14.4? I think it was 14.4.
14.4 with 1 foot. 1 foot if regular speed, 6 inches at 5 or 10 miles an hour.
I don't even know if that's it because it was 14.4. So a foot would be 13.4, but he's allowing 13.6, I think, at regular speed. And then if it's over 13.6, it's supposed to be 5 miles an hour. So is that possible for you to enter that in? Like, he's just concerned about the speed. So if he said, if it's 13.6, travel regular speed. If it's between 13.7 and 14 foot or whatever it is, 1310, 13.7 and 1310 go 5 miles an hour.
So, we can do that since we're adding that turn by turn red text in the driving directions. That is something that we're going to be able to do. So you just would need to provide us. We haven't been provided that yet. We've only been provided the 13.6, which I've updated, which is now why it's taking that. But if you provide us the dimensions, I can add it as a route tech here for now. And then
Okay.
eventually it'll be in the turn by turn here and it'll state that. So yes, that is something that you can do and it will print if it's below that certain thing. It'll say 5 miles per hour if you're between such and such heights.
Okay.
Dave,
So it would trigger in the turn by turn.
Yeah, it would eventually be in the turn by turn. For now, if you provide it to me right now, it's going to show in this route tech, just like the route techs I've shown you before. But eventually
Okay.
these route techs are going to be down here. So it would be in red text and it would say if you're 13.6, travel at normal speed. If you are blah blah blah, you can travel at 5 miles per hour. And it would state that on the line when it hit Williamsburg Bridge, and it would allow that height. And they would know like, hey, I have to go this slow if I'm going this height.
Okay, great. Like I'm going to tell him to send whatever stipulation he wants to put in there, so that way we can travel over 13.6 because we should be able to.
Yeah, and that would give you a
Thank
lot
you.
more direct routes too. This one was way more direct, I feel like, versus the other one. So
Thanks.
Dave, what was the 1310 rule?
The 1310 rule was because Fareed and company would review it and they've approved for 13.8 and then 13.10 with steps.
That's what I thought. Anything 1310 or over had to be approved, right?
The max was 13.10.
Okay.
18 over 13.10 could not use it. I believe we did one for 13.11, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
yeah, so y'all just get us that over. We've only got the 13.6 from Fareed approval, so that's the only one I've updated right now, which is again why it's using Williamsburg Bridge to begin with. So once you guys provide us that other information, we can get those route texts in there and you can start kind of seeing it. Just asking me, hey, can we see the route text? Make sure it's displaying. So you have peace of mind there. And eventually, like I said, it'll be red text in this area and to tell them like, hey, it'll be in red text and it'll catch their eye, telling them whatever information they need to know. So outside of that, below the Williamsburg Bridge, is there any issues with the driving directions? Does everything else look good?
Go back above the Williamsburg Bridge to turn right onto Grand Street because it did a different route than what was in the agenda. And Grand itself has problems. It's very narrow. They got open streets dining. And I just to give you an idea, I just copy and pasted the link of Grand Street. I put it in the chat so you can look at the street view directly. That's an example there. It's very narrow. There's restaurant sheds, there's city bikes, there's a bike lane, and there's parking there. And it's very tough and very narrow to squeeze in there. So
yeah, that's terrible. Definitely terrible. Okay, so if that is the case, then it looks like we need a width restriction between a certain amount of streets. So we can either no permits it, where no travel is going to go through, or we can width restrict it. So which one are you wanting in between what section? Because that's what's going to make this route change.
Yeah, so we're going to need to put in a width restriction. And Roman, I don't know if you're still with us or you jumped on another call, but that's why these street improvement projects, we got to get the data because it's not going, we can't go and figure out the widths of all these special areas. So that's why this information from the street improvement projects is very
So
important.
can I ask a question? Do you currently just route in the street in general, or do you just avoid it?
We avoid it just because the
Then I would
riders
just-
know.
Yeah, if I was you, I would, instead of, if it's going to cause you waiting and cause you having to wait, if you don't route on it currently and you're already used to not routing on it, I would just add the no permits restriction. Then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to wait on the width restriction. And if ever you eventually get that with restriction, we can simply change that from a no permits to with restriction. It's very simple. And that way you're not kind of like depending on someone else. I know you want the information, but in the meanwhile, you can basically just go off your old routing rules and it's giving you a more similar route to what you have in the meanwhile.
This is on truck route, correct? This is on system?
Yeah, this is on truck route.
Yes.
Yeah, so we should be able to use it,
Okay.
and we could be able to use it under certain circumstances.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to restrict it because it's on system, and we just have to find this info. So I know we're running short on time, but
That's okay.
so hopefully we can get there's so many of these in the city, and that's kind of like what we're working on right now. Trying to get this information.
Yeah,
Would
I'll
you allow
just table-
8.6 or no?
I'm sorry?
Would you allow up to 8.6 or you want to make it tighter too?
I have no idea, probably, but I have no idea. I mean, the things that they're putting on truck routes throughout the city, it's mind blowing. I can't even figure out why they're doing what they're doing all over the place. And they're taking 2 lanes down to 1. They're putting in, bike corrals for city bikes. They're putting in these restaurant things in the street.
I thought they were going to remove the dining. No?
No,
Outdoor dining can take place, but the DOT application deadline is August 3rd for them to do outdoor dining for the year.
They're gonna allow them to stay. They got protected bike lanes. There's so many anomalies out there that but we have to figure out. Yeah, I mean, look how tight that is. How would you like to? How would you like to be having your shrimp scampi dinner and an 18-wheeler come flying by you? But I mean, it's crazy how people don't get killed in these things. I don't know, but
I have no idea, and I don't know why they keep them. It's like all the pressure from the restaurant owners that they won't say no now. That's it.
There was a vehicle that went out of control and smashed a restaurant shed. No one was in there at that time.
Where?
Yeah. I have to Google that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send. Well, the time is up, but
thank you.
Feel free to you feel free to drop the link though. The link will still be there, so we can all look at it afterwards. But for now, I will table this conversation and just put it as a bullet at the bottom, just so we can follow up with it, because we still have Kent Avenue, I think, too, that we need a with restriction on. So I will just table this conversation for now. But I do see why you would not want to route through there at this moment. That is very, very tight squeeze. So with that being said, we are a little bit over time. So
okay.
Does anyone have any questions before we end today's call? I think we only had one more permit left, so we did pretty good.
Yeah, I think this was really productive today, and I think we got a lot of stuff accomplished, and we have a few more action items that we have to cover, but I think that this is definitely moving in the right direction, because I think you could see easily that now with all the testing that we're doing, with the review that we're doing here, a lot of things are starting to pass, a lot of, just minor things here and there. So, I think this was really productive.
Good. I agree. And I was going to thank you guys for all the emails that you sent yesterday. We will be looking at those after the call. So thank you guys for testing a lot outside of the system. That definitely helps making these routed calls go very smooth too, because then we do not have to go through those issues.
Yeah, I just posted the video on the chat, so you can copy and paste.
Okay.
Hey, Brittany, just real quick, I'm going to be out next week, so you can CC me on stuff, but whatever you want to direct as far as the routes that I sent you guys, you can always just send it to Dave and then CC me, and he'll go back and forth with you at least until next Friday, the 26th.
Wow.
Yes, perfect. And yeah, that video is very that is wild, David. So
this is wild.
for
Yeah.
sharing. the video. That's a nice car too, a Cadillac. I guess he just didn't care or had good insurance.
Was.
It was.
Yeah, it
yeah.
was a nice Cadillac.
Oh my God! Wow.
Or it was stolen.
Yeah,
It was somebody else's.
What
yeah,
was that?
that was a Cadillac. Let me rewind. Hold on. So you can get a good visual of that.
New York City has changed. New York City has changed since you guys have been here last.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh boy.
So,
Yep.
okay.
History is a truck route as well.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
truck
lovely.
route. Even more, even better.
Yes, that's exactly what someone would want to deal with a truck too, I'm sure. Well, thank you guys for that video. That not that it was funny, but that was very different to watch. We don't have things like that happen here. So thank you for sharing. And again, thank you guys for all the help during the permit testing and testing outside of these calls too. That is very helpful. So I hope you have a great rest of your week and talk soon.
Very good. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Brittany.
Whatever, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.